The canvas walls of the tent breathe with the night, a slow, rhythmic sigh as the wind, having journeyed across the vast, dark plains of Pannonia, presses gently against the hide and rope. It is a lonely sound, yet a comforting one. It speaks of the world outside, vast and indifferent, and of the small, warm space within. Here, in this flickering circle of lamplight, there is a measure of peace. The day is done. The reports have been read, the dispatches sent, the orders given. The faces of generals, etched with the dust of the march and the gravity of command, have receded into the shadows. The scent of sweat, leather, and horses has been replaced by the clean, sharp smell of burning olive oil from the lamp and the faint, earthy aroma of the papyrus scroll unrolled before me. My armor rests on its stand in the corner, a hollow man of bronze and leather, its polished surfaces catching the light in dull, sleepy gleams. It has done its duty for the day. Now I must do mine. This is the final duty. Not to the empire, not to the legions, not to the Senate, but to myself. To the ruling reason within, to take up the reed pen, to dip it in the pot of soot-black ink, and to converse with the only man who will always tell me the truth, if I am only quiet enough to listen, the man I am when no one else is watching. My fingers, stiff from gripping the reins of my horse and the hilt of my ceremonial sword, feel clumsy as they grasp the slender reed. The scratching sound it makes on the page is a small, intimate noise, a whisper in the quiet of the tent. Outside, the camp is settling. The boisterous laughter from the evening meal has faded. Now there are only the muffled coughs of men in their bedrolls, the soft nicker of a horse, the distant, lonely call of a sentry marking the watch. Each sound arrives, is noted, and then is released, like a leaf floating down a stream. They are external things. They are not me. They do not have the power to disturb the citadel within unless I grant it to them, and that is the first thought I wish to hold tonight. The first truth to anchor myself to, as a ship anchors in a calm harbor after a tumultuous day at sea. What is truly mine, and what is not? The ache in my shoulders from the weight of the mail is not truly mine to control. It is the consequence of a body that ages and wears. The chill that seeps up from the ground, a reminder that we are on the northern frontier and autumn deepens, is not mine to command. The news from Rome, carried by a weary courier of political squabbles and the petty ambitions of men I have never met, that is certainly not mine. The Quadi and the Marcomanni, sleeping in their own camps beyond the Danube, dreaming of battle or peace, their thoughts and plans are as far from my control as the stars wheeling silently overhead. All these things are externals. They are the weather of existence. They are the wind and the rain. To rage against them, to be consumed by anxiety over them, is as foolish as a farmer cursing a cloud for not moving faster. It is a waste of spirit. It is a leakage of the soul. So what, then, is mine? The pen feels steady in my hand now. The thought clarifies, like water in a still pool. What is mine is the meaning I assign to the ache in my shoulders. I can name it a torment, a sign of weakness, a harbinger of old age. Or I can name it a simple sensation, a reminder of a day spent in my duty, a physical fact no more remarkable than the color of the tent cloth. The judgment is mine. What is mine is my response to the chill. I can shiver and complain, letting my mind fill with dread of the coming winter. Or I can pull my woolen cloak tighter, feel the simple gratitude of its warmth, and acknowledge the turning of the seasons as a part of the great, beautiful, and sometimes harsh order of the cosmos. The choice of response is mine. What is mine is how I process the news from Rome. I can let anger and frustration poison my evening, imagining the treachery and foolishness of these men. Or I can read the reports, extract the necessary information, make the decisions that are mine to make, and let the rest go, understanding that the character of other men is their own affair, not mine. My virtue is not dependent on their lack of it. My tranquility cannot be held hostage by their turmoil. This is the great secret, the first principle of a peaceful mind. To draw a circle around the self and to know with absolute certainty what lies inside that circle and what lies outside. Inside the circle are my thoughts, my judgments, my choices, my will, my character. Outside are all other things. My body, my reputation, my wealth, the actions of others, the fate of the empire, the rising and setting of the sun. I can work upon the things outside the circle. I can lead the army, I can write the laws, I can speak with reason and persuasion, but the ultimate outcome is not, and never will be, entirely in my hands. A sudden storm, a plague, a single stray arrow. The universe is filled with variables beyond my command, but the man I choose to be in the face of that outcome, that is always and unequivocally mine. I pause and look at the words I have written. The ink is still wet, gleaming in the lamplight. It is a simple thought, one I have learned from Epictetus, from Rusticus, from the great minds who have sought this path before me. Yet it is a lesson that must be learned anew each day. The world spends every moment trying to convince us that our happiness lies outside the circle. A victory will bring us joy. A promotion will bring us peace. The praise of others will bring us contentment. But it is a lie. A beautiful, seductive lie. Joy, peace, contentment. These are not things to be found. They are things to be built. And the only ground on which they can be built is the small, sacred plot of land that is our own mind, our own reasoned choice. The flame in the lamp sputters for a moment, and the shadows in the tent leap and dance, growing vast and then shrinking back again. It is as if the world outside is testing the walls of my small sanctuary. I think of the day just past. A review of the cavalry. The horses, magnificent beasts, thundering past, their hooves tearing up the dusty earth. The men, proud and disciplined, in their gleaming helmets. A fine sight. A sight to stir the heart of any commander. And for a moment, it did. A surge of pride, of confidence. My army, my strength. But then, I caught myself. Is this army mine? These men? These horses? They are entrusted to me, for a time. I am their steward. But their lives, their wills, are their own. The outcome of the next battle is not decided. To place my tranquility in the thundering hooves and the flashing spears is to build my house upon an earthquake. Instead, I practice seeing it for what it was. Men on horses. Leather, bronze, iron. A display of training and discipline. An event. I performed my role to inspect, to encourage, to command. I did it to the best of my ability, because that was the duty before me. The virtue was in the doing of the duty, not in the praise I received, or the pride I felt. The pride is a passenger, the duty is the vessel. I must not mistake one for the other. Later, a dispute between two centurions was brought before me. One accused the other of cowardice in a recent skirmish. The other claimed he was acting with prudence, saving his men from a foolish ambush. Their faces were flushed with anger, their voices loud, each man utterly convinced of his own righteousness. It would have been easy to be swept up in their passion, to feel my own anger rise at their lack of unity, their pettiness in the face of a common enemy. But I remembered the circle. Their anger was not mine. Their accusations were not mine. My task was not to feel their emotions for them, but to see the situation clearly, stripped of its dramatic coloring. What were the facts? A skirmish occurred. A tactical withdrawal was made. Some men saw it as cowardice. One man saw it as prudence. These are the bones of the matter. The rest, the insults, the wounded pride, the outrage, is merely the flesh of judgment that they themselves have added. So I listened. I asked questions. I focused on the facts, on the terrain, on the enemy's numbers, and I made my ruling not to satisfy their anger, but to best serve the legion and the principles of justice and military effectiveness. I did not tell them how to feel. I told them what must be done. I reminded them that they are Romans, that they are brothers, and that their true enemy lies across the river, not across the table in my tent. Whether they accepted this in their hearts is not within my control, but I acted with reason, with fairness, and with the good of the whole in mind. My part was played with virtue. The rest is their affair. It is so tempting, in the heat of the moment, to let the emotions of others become our own, to see an angry face and become angry, to see a weeping friend and fall into despair. Sympathy is a virtue, but emotional contagion is a sickness. To be a rock, a promontory against which the waves of other people's passions can crash and break, leaving it unmoved. That is the goal. To feel for them, yes. To understand them, absolutely. But to keep the core of my own being, my own reason, calm and clear. The wind outside has picked up. It hums a low, mournful note against the ropes of the tent, a sound that could easily be mistaken for a lament, a sound that could invite melancholy into the heart. I think of home, of Rome, of my wife Faustina and the children. Is she well? Are they safe? 1,000 anxieties could spring from that single thought, 1,000 fears about plague, politics, and the simple, cruel randomness of fate. And here, again, is the test. These thoughts arrive. They knock at the door of the citadel. Do I let them in? Do I invite them to sit by my fire and tell me their terrifying stories? No, I acknowledge them. I see them for what they are, products of love and distance. They are not facts. They are phantoms. My family is in the hands of the gods, and in the care of the good people I have left to watch over them. My worrying, here, hundreds of leagues away, in a tent on the edge of the wilderness, can do nothing to change their reality. It can only destroy my own peace. It can only make me a less effective commander, a less thoughtful man, a poorer servant to the duty that is before me right now. So I send the phantoms away. I replace them with a thought that is within my control. A prayer. A simple, stoic prayer. Not for a specific outcome, but for strength. Let them have the strength to face whatever comes, and let me have the strength to do the same. Let us all act with virtue, with courage, with justice, in the sphere that has been allotted to us, and let us accept what we cannot change with grace and tranquility. This is a better use of my mind. It is a productive thought, not a destructive one. It builds, it does not erode. The page is nearly full, my hand is beginning to cramp. I set the pen down and rub my fingers, stretching them. I look around the small space. The lamplight makes it a bubble of civilization in a vast, untamed darkness. For a moment, I try to see it as a stranger would. A simple camp bed with a wool blanket. A folding wooden desk. A few scrolls in a chest. A stand for my armor. A basin of water. There is nothing here that I could not lose in an instant. A fire, a sudden attack, the order to march. All of it could be gone by morning. And what would I have lost? Wood, cloth, paper, things. The man who identifies himself with his possessions is a man who builds his house on the deck of a ship. The storm will come, and his house will be tossed into the sea, and he will be left with nothing. My true possessions are not in this tent. They are within me, my ability to reason, my commitment to justice, my courage in the face of pain, my temperance in the face of pleasure. These are the furnishings of the inner citadel. And no fire, no enemy, no emperor, not even I, in a moment of weakness, can take them away unless I consent to their removal. This is a comforting thought. It is the source of all true freedom. A man can be imprisoned in a palace, a slave to his desires and his fears, and a man can be free in a dungeon if his mind is his own. I am neither in a palace nor a dungeon. I am in a tent on the frontier. But my freedom does not depend on my location. It depends on the soundness of my philosophy. I pick up the pen again, but I do not write. I simply hold it and gaze into the flame of the lamp. The small, teardrop-shaped flame is a miracle of stability. The oil is drawn up the wick. The fire consumes it. Light and heat are produced. It is a simple, orderly process. It is following its nature. The nature of a lamp is to give light. And what is the nature of a human being? Is it to conquer, to rule, to accumulate wealth, to seek pleasure? Many live as if this were so. But look at the animals. The lion is stronger, the deer is swifter, the bird can fly. If we define ourselves by these physical attributes, we will always find ourselves lacking. Our nature, our unique and defining characteristic, is our reason. We are the rational animal. We are the part of the cosmos that can contemplate itself. Our purpose, then, must be to live in accordance with that nature, to live rationally. And what does it mean to live rationally? It means to live in harmony with the whole. To understand that I am not an isolated entity, but a small part of a vast, interconnected organism. I am a citizen of the world, of the cosmos. The arm cannot decide to act against the interests of the body. The branch cannot flourish if it is severed from the tree. My own good is inextricably linked to the good of the whole. This is why the virtues are not arbitrary rules, but the very expression of a rational life. Justice, to give each person their due, to act for the common good. This is rational, because we are social creatures. A society without justice will collapse upon itself. To act unjustly is to act against my own nature as a part of the whole. It is like a hand deciding to strike the face. It is madness. Courage, to face what is difficult or frightening without being ruled by fear. This is rational, because fear is merely a judgment, an opinion about a future that has not happened. To see things clearly, to know what is truly to be feared, a disordered mind, a vicious character, and what is not, pain, death, poverty, is the work of reason. Temperance, to not be a slave to my appetites for pleasure or my aversion to pain. This is rational, because our appetites are blind guides. They seek only immediate gratification, without regard for the long-term consequences. Reason allows us to see the bigger picture, to choose what is truly good for us over what merely feels good in the moment. Wisdom, the knowledge of what is good, what is bad, and what is indifferent. This is the master virtue, the one that guides all the others. It is the clear-sightedness that comes from constant practice, from stripping away our false judgments and seeing the world as it truly is. To live according to nature, then, is simply to be a good human being, to be a just father, a courageous leader, a temperate friend, a wise man. It is to play the part. One have been assigned in this great drama of existence as well as I possibly can. I did not choose to be born an emperor. The gods, or fate, or the great chain of cause and effect, assigned me this role. My task is not to complain about the script, or to covet another actor's part. My task is to speak my lines with clarity and conviction, to walk the stage with dignity, and to exit when my time is called. The thought of my role brings to mind the many other actors I encountered today. The young legionary, barely a man, his face a mask of terror during weapons training. He dropped his shield, fumbled his sword. The training master berated him harshly. In the past, I might have been annoyed at the boy's incompetence, a weak link in the chain. But today, I tried to see him differently. I saw not a bad soldier, but a frightened boy far from home. His fear, his fumbling, these are the passions. They are not him. Beneath them is a human being, a small piece of the universal reason, just like me. He is my brother, a kinsman of the spirit. So after the training was done, I sought him out. I did not speak to him of courage or duty. I simply asked him his name. I asked him about his village, his family. His answers came in a stutter at first, but then more freely. He spoke of his mother, of the small farm where he grew up. And for a few moments he was not a trembling recruit, and I was not the emperor. We were just two men, talking of home. As I left, I told him that every Roman soldier feels fear. The difference between a coward and a hero is not the absence of fear, but what one does in its presence. I told him to focus not on the enemy, but on the man next to him in the line. Protect him, and he will protect you. That is the legion. I do not know if my words helped. That is outside my control. But I acted as a kinsman should. I offered not scorn, but empathy and encouragement. I acted in accordance with nature. And in that action, I found my own reward. The feeling was not one of pride, but of rightness, of harmony, like a musician playing a note that is perfectly in tune with the rest of the orchestra. This is the source of cheerfulness. It does not come from seeking pleasure. It comes from doing good. It is the deep satisfaction of a job well done, and the most important job we have is the cultivation of our own character. I feel a wave of drowsiness wash over me. The ink in the pot is growing thick. The lamp is burning low. Sleep is calling, a gentle summons to rest the body. But the mind still wishes to wander for a moment longer. I find my thoughts drifting upwards, as if leaving the tent, leaving the camp behind. I imagine myself rising, looking down upon this small gathering of men and horses, a tiny, fragile island of order in a vast, dark wilderness. I see the sentries walking their lonely posts, the glow of their watchfires like scattered embers. I rise higher. The entire plain of Pannonia unfolds beneath me, a patchwork of forest and field, silvered by the light of a moon I cannot see. The great river Danube is a ribbon of shimmering ink, snaking its way towards the sea. I see the lands of the tribes we fight, and the lands of Rome, all part of the same earth. Higher still, the entire globe turns slowly beneath me. I see the sun-scorched sands of Aegyptus, the green hills of Britannia, the bustling heart of Rome, a tiny pinprick of light. All the cities of men, all their strivings, their wars, their loves, their markets, their farms. It all seems so small from up here. The great crises that consume our days on earth, from this height, are invisible. The frantic scurrying of ants on a hill. I continue to rise, past the moon, past the wandering stars, into the infinite blackness of the cosmos. The earth is now just a beautiful blue and white marble, suspended in an ocean of silent, glittering suns. And I, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, am where? I am nothing. An invisible speck of dust on a smaller speck of dust, lost in an immensity that my mind can barely comprehend. And my troubles? The war with the Marcomanni? The political intrigues in the Senate? The ache in my shoulder? From this vantage point, they are less than nothing. They are absurd. To give them the power to disturb my peace of mind seems, from this cosmic perspective, the most profound kind of foolishness. This is the view from above. It is a powerful medicine for a troubled spirit. It does not deny the reality of our problems, but it puts them in their proper context. We are small, and our time is short. But we are a part of this magnificent, terrifying, beautiful whole. Our lives are the briefest of notes in an eternal symphony. The goal is not to be the loudest note, but to play our own small part in tune. And then, from this great height, my mind begins to travel not in space, but in time. I look down at that spot on the river Danube, and I see the legions that came before me. The armies of Trajan, of Augustus, of Caesar himself. They stood on this same ground, felt this same chill wind, looked up at these same eternal stars. Where are they now? Their bones are dust. Their names are echoes in history books. And I see the emperors who came before me. The divine Augustus, the brooding Tiberius, the mad Caligula, the stoic Antoninus, my beloved adoptive father. They held the world in their hands, as I do now. They felt the weight of this purple robe. They made decisions that shaped the lives of millions. And where are they now? They are all gone. The river of time has swept them all away. And I, too, will be swept away. This hand that writes, this mind that thinks, this body that feels the cold, it is all temporary. One day, not long from now, another man will sit in a tent like this one, leading another army. And he may, if he is a student of history, read my name in a scroll. And he will think of me as I think of Trajan, a ghost, a legend, a man of dust. This thought is not morbid. It is not a cause for despair. It is the ultimate liberation. Memento mori. Remember, you must die. If my time is short, if all this is fleeting, then what is truly important? Is it to win one more battle? To acquire more territory? To have my name carved on a taller monument? No. These are games children play with sandcastles on the shore. The tide of time will wash them all away. The only thing of value, the only thing that cannot be washed away, is the character I build in this present moment, the virtue I practice right now, the kindness I show to the frightened soldier, the justice I dispense to the squabbling centurions, the tranquility I cultivate in my own heart. Death is the great clarifier. It strips away the non-essential. When you know you are going to die, you suddenly know what is important. It is not what you have, but who you are. And so, this contemplation of my own mortality does not fill me with fear. It fills me with a sense of urgency and purpose. This evening, this single precious evening, is a gift. This breath I am taking right now is a gift. The ability to think these thoughts, to strive for a better self, is a gift. I must not waste it. I must not squander it on anger or anxiety or petty grievances. I must live this moment and the next and the one after that as if it were my last, not with frantic hedonism, but with focused, virtuous attention. If this were the last entry I ever wrote in this journal, would I be proud of it? Does it reflect the man I aspire to be? I think of those I have loved and who are now gone, my teachers, who gave me the tools of philosophy, my children taken from me by fever before they had a chance to truly live, and Faustina, my wife. I see her face now in my mind's eye, not as the empress, but as the young woman I first knew. I remember her laughter. A specific memory comes unbidden. A warm afternoon in our villa at Lanuvium, the sunlight filtering through the leaves of a fig tree, and the sound of her laughing at something foolish one of the children had said. The memory brings a pang of sorrow, a deep ache of loss. And I allow it. I do not fight it. To have loved is to have opened oneself to loss. It is the price of admission to the most beautiful of human experiences. The Stoic does not seek to be a man of stone, devoid of feeling. He seeks to feel, but not to be controlled by his feelings. I can mourn her, I can miss her, but I must not let that grief become a poison that sours the present. Instead, I can let it be a reminder of the beauty that was, and a reminder that all things are impermanent. Her nature was to be mortal. My nature is to be mortal. The nature of the universe is change. To wish it were otherwise is to wish that a fig tree would not produce figs. And so I can transform the grief into gratitude. I am grateful for the years we had. I am grateful for the memory of her laughter under the fig tree. That memory is a part of me now. It is a treasure that no one can take away. And the best way to honor her, and all those I have lost, is to live well, to live the philosophy that we so often discussed, to be the man she believed I could be. The first hint of gray is beginning to soften the blackness outside the tent flap. The deep, heavy silence of midnight is giving way to the thinner, more watchful quiet of the pre-dawn hours. Soon the camp will begin to stir. The cooks will light the breakfast fires. The grooms will tend to the horses. The legionaries will groan, shake off their sleep, and begin the familiar ritual of checking their gear. A new day will begin, and with it will come new challenges, new frustrations, new demands on my time and my patience. The world will rush in again, with all its noise and its chaos, and try to pull me out of my citadel. So now, in these last quiet moments, I must prepare. I must arm myself for the coming day, not with bronze and iron, but with principles. When I walk out of this tent, I will meet men who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and unsocial. I must not be surprised by this. I must not be angered by this. They are this way because they are ignorant of what is truly good and what is truly evil. They are like men walking in the dark, stumbling and bumping into things. They deserve not my anger, but my pity and my help. They are my kinsmen. We share the same divine spark of reason, however clouded it may be in them. We were made to work together, like the two rows of teeth, like the left hand and the right, to obstruct each other, to feel anger towards each other, to turn our backs on each other. This is to act against nature. So when the arrogant general questions my orders, I will meet him not with arrogance but with calm reason. His arrogance is his problem, not mine. My task is to lead effectively. When the sycophantic senator sends a flattering message, I will see it for what it is, an attempt to manipulate, and I will not be swayed by it. His insincerity is his failing. My task is to see the truth. When a soldier complains about the rations or the long march, I will listen with patience and address the issue if it is just, but I will not be infected by his negativity. His complaint is an opinion. My task is to maintain the morale and discipline of the army. In every situation, I will ask myself, what virtue can I practice here? Is it patience? Is it courage? Is it justice? Is it self-control? Nature has given us a faculty for every challenge. For the dishonest man, she has given us honesty. For the cruel man, she has given us kindness. I will begin the day by remembering that I am mortal, that this day could be my last. This will help me to focus on what is essential, to not waste time on trivialities. I will remember the circle. I will focus my energy on what is within my control, my own thoughts, my own actions, and I will accept what is outside my control with equanimity. The weather, the enemy's plans, the health of my body, these things are not up to me. I will play the hand I am dealt, as a good card player does, without complaining about the cards. I will view events without adding my own subjective, emotional judgments. A report will not be terrible news. It will be a report containing facts. A setback will not be a disaster. It will be an unexpected event that requires a new plan. I will strip the bark of my own opinion from the tree of reality and see it for what it is. I will remember that I am a part of a whole, a citizen of the cosmos. My actions should aim for the common good. I will strive to be like the vine that produces its grapes and seeks no reward beyond having done so. My nature is to act for the benefit of my fellow human beings. That is its own reward. The lamplight is fading now, not because the oil is spent, but because a truer, colder light is beginning to filter through the canvas. The world is being reborn. The shadows are retreating. My thoughts are settled. The conversation with myself is over, for now. I have examined my mind, swept out the dust and clutter of the day, and put the furniture of my principles back in its proper place. The citadel is secure. The governor is at peace. I roll up the scroll and tie it carefully. One day, perhaps someone will read these late-night ramblings. Perhaps they will be of some use to them. Or perhaps they will be lost to the wind and the rain. It does not matter. They have served their purpose for me tonight. They have been my guide, my confessor, my friend. I rise from the desk, my joints stiff. I walk to the opening of the tent and push the flap aside. The air is cold and clean, with the smell of damp earth and distant wood smoke. The eastern sky is a pale, luminous gray. A single bright star, the morning star, hangs in the fading darkness like a lonely sentinel. The camp is still quiet, but it is the quiet of held breath, of imminent beginning. I look out over the sleeping legion, over the standards planted firmly in the Roman soil. My duty awaits. My role in the great play is about to begin again. But I will not go out to meet it as the weary commander who entered this tent last night. I will go out as a philosopher, a man who knows what is his and what is not, a man who remembers he is mortal, a man who seeks to live in accordance with nature, in harmony with the great symphony of the cosmos. I will face the arrogance, the fear, the chaos of the day, and I will strive to meet it all with a calm mind, a just hand, and a kind heart. I may fail, I will certainly stumble, but I will get up and I will try again. For the path itself is the destination, the striving is the victory. And as the first rays of the rising sun touch the distant hills, painting their peaks in soft hues of rose and gold, I feel not anxiety but a quiet, steady sense of purpose, a serene readiness. Let the day come, I am prepared.